PetrolHeads London, and we're in the Aston Martin V8 Vantage, and well, my initial impressions are what a car. Just the sound and the sense of theatre from it. You hopefully will be picking some of this up, but we'll cut in some exhaust notes for this as well. Inside, I've done a sort of comparison with my car, and yes, it feels a bit more dated, but it kind of feels, well, not kind of feels, it does feel a lot more special. This aluminium dashboard in here, the leather, the way it just kind of like sort of flows over everything. And I know I've got leather in places, but it's not interspersed by plastic in here. It's interspersed by really lovely sort of metal coated surfaces. So we've only been for a short little drive in this, and well, just the sense of raw power in this car is unreal. Reminds me more of my 911, my old 997. It's got that real punch, and I can see why. You know, when I asked Filippo here, whose car it is, what he didn't like is basically not because he didn't want to tell me that there wasn't anything he didn't like, I think, but because it is just a sense of theatre getting in this car, you know, and it's something you use not necessarily on special occasions, but you know, not as frequently as a daily. But wow, that power, it really, you really feel it kicking you in the back. It's 4.7 litre in this version. Yes, I mean, you know, it's got all of that in it. It really is quite something. Interior is beautiful. It's a lovely place to be, and I know it's a phrase I always use in cars, but like Alcantara down these sort of like A-posts, and just so well put together. Wow, this car. That is a phenomenal sound.
There is also somewhere like a link to motorsport, because Vantage has been racing since I think 2012.
Yeah, and Aston obviously been very successful at Le Mans for years. Yeah.
So the Vantage obviously replaced the DBR9. I think it was in 2000.
The V8 Vantage kind of made the Aston Martin accessible, right? Because not like the F-Type, which I obviously always compare to, which kind of made sort of sports cars accessible for Jaguar, but this, you know, was from a company that did thoroughbred kind of GT and racing cars. This car all of a sudden made it more affordable for people to get them. I mean, I can't remember starting price of these when they first came out were like what, 80,000 maybe?
90.
Yeah,
90,
okay.
Around
before you start specking them up. So actually, it is like the accessible Aston, unlike your GT8, which you're going to buy, which is
different.
A very different kettle of fish. And I can't pull it out to show you, but I've shown it on previous videos. Is the key on this is a Swarovski crystal, which I think cost about £3,000 to replace, so don't lose it.
Less,
yeah, very expensive. But it's a fun car to drive, right? And that noise is just unbelievable. It's just fantastic. So one of the things we were talking about in the interior is that it's actually quite nice that it's not all electronic. It's lovely buttons down here that are kind of blended into the rest of the dashboard with the air conditioning and stuff. So the sat nav folds down, which is a really nice touch, and reminds me of how the air vents rise and fall in the Jaguar. And the other thing to point out is that, you know, it kind of makes it timeless, as Filippo was saying, because okay, it's a bit dated in terms of the actual electronics, and to be honest, I think that about most cars. Sat navs are really, unless they got the brand new ones where they're integrated Google, are kind of like not really worth the money you pay for them. But it just kind of, yeah, blends in with the whole design here.
Actually, yes, if I have to find one defect, is the sat nav.
But that's
rubbish.
it.
But
Yeah.
as you see,
But then I think when you're blasting down a country road, enjoying the car, and I think this is a real driver's car, having spent a short amount of time in it, like that's the one thing you really feel, and it does feel like raw power. So I think the difference between this and things like the F-Type is that's a kind of everyday sports car. You know, it's better than an MX-5 and stuff like that, but this is truly a, you know, proper driver's car. But I think it'd be good on long journeys and stuff like that. It's incredibly comfortable, loads of space in the back here, you know, and that's one of the things I miss in the F-Type, is that you're very enclosed, there's loads of headroom in here, so it does feel like a mini GT car to me. It's just, you know, a little bit rawer, and I think, you know, that's one of the real qualities and draws of a car like this. Talking to Filippo as well, we were just talking about driving. One of the things I love about the F-Type is it's just so drivable. It's absolutely a daily, something you can take on long journeys. Whereas this is more of a thoroughbred sports car. You can tell that from the moment you get in it and the sound of it. He says it's a lot harder to drive, so actually it's a little bit more difficult, you know, that heavy manual gearbox. So thank you for watching PetrolHeads London. Please remember to like and subscribe.